Hello, CQ, the old friends net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ the old friends net. This net meets on this frequency 3 times weekly, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m., Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. Net's conducted in the amplitude modulation mode, carried out in the roundtable format. So, stations that would like to participate in today's Old Friends Net, give me a call and come now.
N4LQ.
KG4IUQ.
KZ4 Bravo.
K4GDN.
WB4ARK.
Alright, this is who I've heard. N4LQ, KG4IUQ, KZ4B, K4GDN, W4MEC, and WB4ARK. Did I miss anyone? All right, recognizing Greg, KF4DRN. Anyone else? All righty, one more time. N4LQ, KG4IUQ, KZ4B, K4GDN, W4MEC, WB4ARK, and KF4DRN. One more time, any other check-in? All right, nothing heard. Good morning to everybody on this 4th day of December. And we've got 25 degrees and partly cloudy. Looking forward to seeing some of you at the Old Friends Luncheon today in Spartanburg. And hope everybody has safe travels. Running the Babcock again today with the SB220 and receiving on an HQ180. So, Steve, here it comes. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Yeah, WA4LLR, N4LQ. Trying to warm up my D104. I guess you didn't know, but when D104s get cold, they get weak. So you gotta keep them warm. That's probably an exaggeration, but there's a little bit of truth there. Anyway, it's temperature-wise 30 degrees and foggy. Very foggy out there. Hope it clears up before we hit the road for Spartanburg. So, over to Mark, KG4IUQ, N4LQ.
This is KG4IUQ. It's about 30 degrees here at the house. I'm planning on going to the luncheon. I'm going to meet over at Steve's house at about 10 a.m. Been having a pretty good time here. Put up a Christmas tree yesterday. Had to go buy one. And I got me an artificial tree. I'll turn it over now to KZ4 Bravo. John, this is KG4IUQ.
Okay, KG4IUQ and the group KZ4B Fine Business. It's unfortunate. I hate to miss Mark, because I'm not going to make it to Steve's. I'm going to be in full hermit mode today. Still, so many projects here. Day before yesterday, I really got sore. I've got a standard desk, and it is grossly overloaded with a bunch of heavy transmitters and receivers, and so I had to crawl underneath there and apply a bunch of extra screws to make sure that it isn't going to collapse on me. Got that done, so I'm still suffering the ill effects of that. I only had to put in 6 screws, but I had to do it on my back overhead under the desk, and I have lost all athletic ability 100%. So, passing on, by the way, the conditions on the radio seem to be great today. Just really good signals. It was so foggy here when I first got up, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, but it's clearing off rather rapidly. So take it away, George. K4GDN and the group KZ4B, over.
KZ4B and the group K4GDN. I'm copying everybody pretty well so far. We're running the Ranger 2. This thing is putting out about 175 reps to carry, which is kind of heavy, but the tubes look like they're handling it fine. Don't see any current. We're in the city fed bipolar motor. And your motivation was about 35 when I came out into the shaft about a half hour ago. It's clear, sunny. We're supposed to get up into maybe the mid to upper 40s today. And then we're expecting rain later on. Sorry, I won't make the lunch this time. Hopefully in the next few months I'll be able to get them. Like I say, I'm running the Ranger and the Homebrew at 11, and everybody seems to be coming in pretty well here. So with that, I'll pass it on to you, Charlie. W4MEC in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, K4GDN in the group, W4MEC. My this signal ought to be a little better than my check-in signal. I was on the wrong antenna, the 160-meter inverted V through the tuner, tuned to 160 meters. I looked up there, and the SWR side of my Palomar was solid red. So anyway, got it switched around good here. And it's about 28 degrees here and clear, not a bit of fog out this way, so I guess it's all in the lower part there. But nice weather outside. Low humidity, doesn't feel like 28, so wouldn't want to go out there in my swim trunks. But I've been warmer and colder, if you know what I mean. So get ready to go to the lunch here and see everybody. So looking forward to that. Don't have to pick Carl up today. He's bringing his wife. And Stan, KF4BY, is bringing his wife, and then I'm sure Dave's bringing his, but my wife's got a previous appointment, so that she's got to take it. She got to be sure she's here when my grandson gets out of school, so I won't be bringing her. So maybe next Christmas. So anyway, so let's go down to Greg, or over to Greg there, KF4DR in the group W4MEC.
W4MEC, KF4DRN. Good morning, everybody. 28 degrees here in Newmarket this morning. Running Harvey Wells TBS 50D and listening on a R388 Collins receiver. And running, of course, on VFO right now. And seems to tune up. I've got enough grid drive, so getting about 150 mil grid drive there for the transmitter from the signal generator. So using an old Ferris signal generator, because it's got enough output to drive the transmitter. WB4ARK KF4DRN.
KF4DRN, WB4ARK. Well, the weather here is 28, clear, no fog. And still struggling with the lower back. issue where I heard it a while back, and so we're getting over it a little bit at a time. I think it's going to be a long haul because it's just taking forever for it to heal up. Lower tailbone area, and nice frost on the yard this morning. Yeah, it was pretty good freeze here. Not too bad, but pretty good. So guess with that we'll send it on back to the head in, WA4LLR, WB4ARK.
All right, buddy, fine business. Do we have any other check-ins for the old friends? Come now. All right. Well, let's see. Sorry about the lower back, buddy. I know how that is, and it is no fun whatsoever. So I certainly pray that will be remedied quickly, expeditiously. And a nice frosty morning there in your part of the world. Greg, the Harvey is making it up here okay. Glad it's still working. And Charlie, let's see, 28. You're a little bit warmer than we are, but not much. And you're clear. We've got some clouds. Georgia Ranger 2 is doing a good job. And John, sorry you had to crawl around and reinforce your desk. Boy, I'm like you. I've lost any athletic ability that I ever had. So I can empathize for sure. Mark, good deal on getting your Christmas tree up. And foggy in the city of Pleasant Living. Well, let's see what's going on. I've been working on the VC610. I had to move it to get behind it and work on something. And of course, they don't like to be moved at all. So when I finished and put it back in position, I could hear it sounded like an arc or some kind of a buzz inside. And everybody said it sounded like an arc on the signal. So I pull it back out from its normal position, take the back off so I can look in there and see if I can see what's going on. And when I key it up, not one problem whatsoever. It's pristine. So I left the back off and I said, okay, I'll try it. So I used it one day and used it for a good while and watching to see if anything was anything untoward was going on. Not one thing. I said, okay, that's good. So I put the back on it, put it back in position. Lo and behold, same problem again. Let's see, who was it had the rig that every time they put the case back on it, the problem materialized once more? Was that Brian? I don't remember. But anyway, I'm going to have to roll it back out here and see what else I can find. That's just strange. Anyway, let's see what else is going on. Not too much. Look, getting ready to head down to Spartanburg here shortly, but I hope. Space weather's pretty active. Sunspot count has climbed to 227. Solar flux index is 209, and the K is 4. We had a couple of fairly strong M-class flares, M6 point, a few overnight. So things are kind of active. A few items from this day in history. On this day in 1991, hostage Terry Anderson was freed in Lebanon. And on this day in 1967, an impromptu jam session broke out at Sun Studios in Memphis between Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, and Johnny Cash. They were called the $1 Million Quartet. On this day in 1783, George Washington bids farewell to his officers, and of course goes on to be president. On this day in 1942, Polish Christians came to the aid of Polish Jews. On this day in 1969, police killed 2 members of the Black Panther Party. On this day in 1992, President Bush ordered troops into Somalia. On this day in 2009, Amanda Cox was convicted of murder in Italy. On this day in 2012, Typhoon Pablo killed over 1,000 people in the Philippines. And on a happier note, on this day in 1996, the Mars Pathfinder mission was launched and put a small rover on Mars. So, down to you, Steve, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. All right, I forgot to mention I'm on the Collins 32V3 75A4 combo this morning. Well, let's see. Okay, on the BC610, Dave. That was Brian, and it was the Globe 350, the Globe Chief 350. And every time you put it back in the case, it would kill it. And we fought that for a couple of years, I think, and finally it quit. It quit doing that. I don't know why exactly, but anyway, I would suggest you pick up the BC610 and shake it and slam it back down on the floor, and it'll be fine. You won't be fine, but it'll be fine. And all right, Mark, on the pagan tree there, you got that set up, I guess. And we'll see you later this morning, about 10 o'clock. And John, crawling under the desk. Well, I keep wondering, where are all those boat anchors that you have on that desk? All I ever hear is a T-150. And that is definitely not very heavy. So what you got on that desk, and sounds like you lost your mojo or something there, working too hard. But anyway, that must be some desk. Let's see, George, sounded okay on the Ranger. And Charlie, I did not hear you check in this morning, and I thought, where did he come from? And apparently you were on that other antenna, and Dave could hear you, but I couldn't. And Greg, that TBS 50 sounds good. I'm kind of surprised, and I think you said you're using some kind of an old signal generator as a VFO, and I did that. I used an ICO signal generator when I was a kid on my DX60 when I got my General. Let's see. And buddy, I hope your back gets better. I've got one of those incline tables. Incline, I think that's what they call it, the incline table. You don't have to hang vertically. I never do that. I just get down to a really steep slope, and that will stretch your back out. It sounds like you stoved your back or something. Anyway, let's see. I wouldn't mind finding a Harvey Wells T9 transmitter. A T9, they made a combo, R9 and T9, a little bit more modern than the TVS 50. And they very much resemble the LMAC as far as circuitry goes. The T9 had the same basic layout as an LMAC. I'm not sure who copied off of who. So let's go around again to, let's see, KZ4B. Hope you're not under that desk. N4LQ.
Okay, N4LQ and the group KZ4B. Fine business, Steve. Yeah, on that desk is a Helicrafters, SX-101, SX-100 above that, Collins 51J4 speaker above that. To the left of that is a TL922 amplifier, Kenwood. Above that, an TS 940. Above that, a 930. Above that, a scope. Above that, two speakers, one for each of those transceivers. And to the left of that is an AT5K, and above that are 1, 2, 3 of the Ameritron antenna tuners. It's the ATR30, 3 of them, and above that is an R8A. And I won't bore you with there's an even heavier duty across from it, stand that on the bottom shelf has a HT33A and an HT32A. Above that is a AL82 on the right, and to the left is an Omni 6, and above that is an AL82, and to the left an AL1500, and above that is the T150 that I'm talking on, and to the left of that is a R2 of the Titan 1s, and below that is a Ten-Tech the 7, and to the right of that is the little Eagle. So and it's super heavy duty. It can handle anything weight-wise. So now that everybody's asleep, I will pass it on. K4GDN in the group, KZ4B.
KZ4B is the group. Let's put that down. I had the volume a little too high on the HQ1 145 volts. Sometimes I have to do a little bit more work on the muting circuit. As far as stacking stuff, I don't go but 3 levels above the level of the table. That's the limit for me. And the heavier stuff goes on first. Although I do have a couple of heavier receivers, at least up on the second level. Copying everybody pretty well here this morning, and I'm going here. I'm getting out okay on the center fed. We're going through a KW matchbox to get to the center fed. It's fed with ladder line, and like I say, I'm putting out about 175 watts carrier, and I'm sitting here watching the 811s, and they're looking like they're handling it cool. Of course, these are real 811s. They're probably World War II surplus. Yeah, it looks like I'm running about 135, about 140, 150 mils of plate current on the pair of them. So that's not too bad. Anyway, copying everybody pretty well. Sorry I won't make it to lunch today. And that's interesting about the sunspot business. I know that seemed to have some effect on the Airbus plane's operating system. I thought that was kind of unusual. Everything's so computer and so sensitive to satellite communications now that can't hardly get along without them, and the sun just doesn't change a thing. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Charlie, and everybody's coming in here pretty well today, even Greg. I'm copying him fine. So Charlie, coming to you. W4NBC in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, George, K4GDN in the group, W4MEC. Yeah, the radio RF here is pumping a little bit. I think there's somebody up the band there splattering pretty good. I didn't get a chance to tune up there. I don't know who that fella is. There's one or two on that 25 group that, you know, from Atlanta really splatters down this way. And you know, I was told quite a while ago that those fellas established that group, and they used to be former like radio and TV engineers, you know. So if that's still the case, you would think they'd keep a nice clean signal, but a couple of them don't. Anyway, so, let's see. Oh yeah, buddy, sorry about the back. Yeah, that's one of those things that it's rough to get over there, and I don't know if you use Aspercream. My wife swears by that stuff, and get your wife to rub something on there where your back is aching, and she uses it on her knees, and it really helps her a lot when they're acting up. So it comes in a red and yellow tube, I think, Aspercream, but and it is aspirin product, whatever aspirin. I used to know the chemical name of aspirin, but anyway, whatever aspirin it is, and you have to be careful because it's like I should read the instructions. You know, if you put it on there, it warns you about not ODing with taking an aspirin. So, but you can take ibuprofen, which is a really good over-the-counter for things like muscle spasms and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I bet you that sounds like that desk is sagging in the middle there, John. I built a couple of desks out in the shop there, 2x4s with one of them I used an old door as a top, looks pretty good. The other one I had a big old piece of masonite, particle board that I used to build something for my wife there. And had just one little section left over, and 3/4 inch stuff, and I put it on there, and I got braces in it. But both of those things has a vertical support right in the middle of it. You know, four legs, 2 on each end, and one in the dead center there with a brace, and to keep it from sagging. And one of them is full of mill serp, and the other one actually is thinned down quite a bit from the things that are on it. But I'll be putting some more stuff on there shortly. But yeah, anyway, in my tiny little area where I can work. So, and both of them oddly are 7 feet long. I think it was because when I used that piece of particle board, it was a 4x8 sheet, and I needed something like lopsided. I think I needed 30 on one side or something, or 2 feet on one side. I can't remember. But it was a little lopsided and 8 feet long. And what I had left was an 8 foot by, 22 inch, 24 inch piece. And that's what I used for the top of this thing. And so it ended up being 7 feet long instead of 8. So anyway, and the door was 84, or 86. So that already established the width of that table. So anyway, and that was something I saw in an old handbook, where a fellow took a door, of course it was not a veneer door, and put 4 legs on the bottom of a door, a smooth door, and just use it as an operating table. I thought, that's a pretty neat idea. So anyway, all right, back over to Greg there. K4DRN in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC, KF4DRN. Yeah, everybody sounded good here. I can get a little bit of feedback with the signal generator nearby. And of course I'm running coax over to the VFO socket of the Harvey Wells, and got to Harvey from Cliff last weekend. He come by, and he was on his way over to see, Virgil, but he's done passed, and he brought the Harvey Wells to me. And Steve, good on you using a signal generator too. I've got some of those ICO signal generators, but I don't think they've got enough output. I can't get the grid drive up. And then this old Ferris having a high output on it, you blow output, and it'll do about 10 volts peak to peak, according to the oscilloscope. But it's keyed up all the time, if you know what I'm saying. I need to mute stop the signal coming out of the generator while I'm transmitting. And then when I'm receiving, of course, I've got a little bit of a noise on the receiver. You know, it's kind of like the BFO turned on or something a little bit, but, you know, everybody's comparable. I mean, I can hear everybody okay. It's not real bad feedback, but it's a little bit. And I've got some more experimentation to do, I guess. Maybe I can get it right. I don't have a BFO, you know, so I've got plenty of signal generators. Thought I'd put one of them to use. WB4ARK to take it, KF4DRN.
KF4DRN, WB4ARK. Let me be sure I've got it here. Okay, well, Greg, your signal's fading a little bit. I got a weak signal and got a good bit of QSB on your signal. Yeah, I never could get enough power out of my signal generator to run my 4400. I tried that because I didn't have a transmitter that I had low enough power to drive it. It takes about 7 watts, 6-7 watts. But yeah, the signal generator just didn't have it. So I had to find something else, and that's when I discovered I had a 310B, Collins 310B. So I worked on that unit, got it working. It worked anyway, but it came from a widow of a ham that sent it to me. I don't know who packed it up, but the front glass got broken, so I had to replace that. And I got it going. And so then I built the antenna tank coil for it, the variable inductor. I built 2 of those. Sold one of the units to Stan. I don't know if he still got it or not. That was a nice unit, had the coils and everything. I've still got one. And I've got the 20, 15, and 10 meter coil for it too, since I built the 80 meter, 40 meter coil with the flex arm on it to change the tuning. Yeah, nice unit. Well, it looks like it's become somewhat overcast now. There's clouds to the west and also to the east. It's kind of a thin cloud layer, but still a little bit cold out there, so I think we'll stay inside this morning as long as possible. Looks like I'm running 3714 900 and something, so we're close to the right frequency. Ran the ART13 this morning. We had 3 on Tuesday. That was a good day for the ART13s. I don't stack anything. Never have. Don't think I ever will. But anyhow, that's about it, I guess. So back to WA4, and I'll say thanks for calling the net, Dave. And Hope everybody has a good lunch. WA4LLR, WB4ARK.
Okay, buddy. Did we miss Mark that time, or did I have a brain cramp?
Yes, you missed me.
I think we double Mark. What did you say?
Yeah, you did miss me last time.
Yeah, go ahead. I thought we did.
Okay, no problem. I hear people talking about Greg and having a signal generator of some sort. I'm able to hear him pretty well if I use this Q multiplier on this Hamilton HQ 110. It helps some to have that, and I hear you talking about what you're doing with the Harvey Wells to get I believe you're talking about controlling the frequency. I've done that with a VFO I found on eBay, but it took a pretty good bit of work to figure out how to use it and do that. The DDS VFO. I would like to be able to figure out how people use a signal generator to do that. I believe that would be good for me to know how. Dave, LLR is sounding good on the Babcock, and he's working on the BC610. I hear him mention in the things of history how 1,000 people somewhere were killed, and I just thought to myself, I'm so glad I live where I live because I don't have to worry about that. I don't have any enemies, you know, so I don't really worry about my life, you know, and I don't have to live in a gated community or a underground fort somewhere, you know. It's kind of good to live here in the United States. Steve is sounding good with a Collins combo. John, KZ4 Bravo, I hope that you're back. Well, it's not your back. You say you've lost all athletic ability because of crawling under a desk to do work. I hope that gets better for you there. And George K4GDN in Myrtle Beach, I hear you pretty well. You came up on the last transmission. And that this Q multiplier helps for that. I'm getting some kind of nearby QRMs coming in. MEC, Charlie W4MEC, you're sounding good here. WB4ARK, I hope that you're back. Gets better. And you say you have frost in your yard. I have frost here too. I had to go out and change my antenna. I have 160 meters and 80 meters combined, and I have to change the length of it sometimes when I get on 80 meters. And what I need is to get to where I have a radio like this night kit T150 and the Hamilton HQ110. They're sitting here kind of ready to go all the time, but they're not always ready to go. I have been experimenting with it, doing other things like CW, and I come in here, it's time to get on the net, and it's not ready. I need to have it ready to go, and then I need to have a table where I'm experimenting with something, and I get on that. I can have a table for that equipment too, and then my modern radio stuff I need to have ready to go. Kind of hard to get up in the morning to go out and change an antenna link out in the frost. It's tough. All right, I will turn it over. Let's see, who does it go to now? It goes to, is it KZ4 Bravo? This is KG4IUQ.
Actually it goes back to me for just a second here.
Go ahead.
Okay, all righty, let's see here. Steve, you were talking about body slamming the 610. You know, if I was Schwarzenegger, I might be able to do that, but If I did, I'd be replacing the two 100 THs and the 250 TH. Those filaments get so fragile after they've been used. You can sneeze on them and they'll break. Anyway, let's see here. The 1,000 deaths were in the Philippines from a storm, Mark, and the Q multiplier is a wonderful thing. John, I don't know how any desk can hold what you listed. Good Lord. No, I try. I confess, I've got 2 LMAX stacked, but other than that, I don't stack anything. Let's see here. What else was I going to say? We're under weather advisory from 7 o'clock tonight until 1 p.m. tomorrow. They don't know what they're saying mixed precipitation, snow and sleet. They're debating back and forth. They're saying, one forecast says 1 to 3 inches, another one says ice accumulations about 1/10 of an inch. So it remains to be seen what will happen. But other than that, I hate to, but I've got to bow out of here on this one and get on the road. But those that are coming, have safe travel. The Lord be with you. And those that are staying at home, have a good time. And buddy, take care of that back. So I'll say 7-3, God bless, and Lord willing, we'll do it again Sunday. So, N4LQ, WA4LLR, 73, fella.
All right, it's N4LQ. My apologies to Mark for passing him up there. I just looked at my list wrong here. And anyway, by the way, I don't like stacking stuff either. I very seldom will set anything on top of anything else. That's just, I don't know, it just seems like it's mistreating the rig. But yeah, the heat factor too. And the doors, using a door for a table, I've done that over the years, and the best ones are the exterior doors with a solid core, and you can pick those up used pretty cheap sometime, just a slab exterior door, and if it's got a hole for the knob, that's fine. Just put that on the back and you can run wires through it. Anyway, I guess I'll turn it to Mark for his. I'm going to say 73's here, and Mark, after that old buzzard transmission, I guess are you ready for another one? If not, then you can turn it over to John. KG4IUQ, N4LQ.
This is KG4IUQ, an old buzzard. I don't really know what that is. I have these birds that fly up over the land over above my home. Not sure what they are. Buzzards, or I think there's some buzzards. And I guess I'm an old buzzard. Yeah, I'm getting old. I don't know. Anyway, 73 to everybody. I'm going to get off of here and get ready to go. I'll turn it over to John, KZ4 Bravo. This is KG4IUQ.
Okay, KG4IUQ and the group KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, Mark. Every one of my transmissions pretty much is an old buzzard. That's for sure. I don't stack things directly on top of each other if they're heavy or if they have to exhaust heat from the top. So I have shelves. They're really sitting, a lot of it sitting on shelves. If something is not in service and it's not too heavy, I might stack it. So that's my policy. One thing with all these AL, like the AL82 and the AL1500s, they all exhaust heat out of the top, so they've got to be under a shelf to let the heat get out. And I have years ago, Sears had a sale, and they were selling workbench desktops, just the tops. And so I bought 3 of them. They're extremely heavy duty. They're like 2 inches thick each, rather than the usual 1 inch or even less. And I use those pipes. You can cut off a pipe, thread it, and it has a screw flange that you can screw onto the pipe on each end. And so I've got 3 levels for that heavy stuff on my left that uses those workbench tops, and it can handle far more weight than I can lift to get on the shelf. At one time I could lift it, but no moss. And so that's how we are getting away with it. So a lot of this stuff, if my son is not here, I can't move it. And I put it there to begin with. And I don't think even Arnold Schwarzenegger can lift a BC-610. And, or at least I wouldn't trust him. That's for sure. That's 400 pounds is all there. And that's definitely a multi-man deal. Speaking of VFOs, when I was a teenager, my main transmitter was homebrew. I had won a Geloso. It's the front end. It's everything but the file and the modulator and the power supply that Geloso sold for homebrew projects. And I won one at the Charlotte Ham Fest. And so I used that to drive a pair of 1625s and modulated it with an ICO modulator, the 50-watt ICO modulator. And that made a great VFO. Well, I was at a Ham Fest not that many years ago, and somebody was selling, almost giving away, a Geloso VFO new in the box, but it did not have the real nice calibrated dial that had your frequency readout. But of course today you can use a frequency counter, and you don't need that. So I bought it, and I haven't used it yet, but my intent is to use that Geloso front end, transmitter front end, as a high-powered VFO. I think it's got something akin to maybe a 6V6 is the driver tube for whatever comes after the VFO. And it was quite stable. And interesting thing, I don't believe the Geloso used a voltage regulator. They said that it was stable enough, the way it was designed, it was stable enough that you didn't have to voltage regulate the oscillator stage. But I think I might, today you can buy Zeners pretty cheap, and I will take 2 25 or 50, maybe a single 50-watt Zener, and regulate the voltage anyway. But and use that to drive some of my stuff. But it was quite stable, and of course, it didn't call for a voltage regulator tube, so I didn't use one either. And it even worked pretty well on CW. So, yeah, that's a good thing to catch if you can find it. And I wanted to comment, buddy, I hope your back gets to feeling better. There's nothing worse than a backache other than a headache. And so speedy recovery there. And I think maybe it was Mark, I'm not sure who, commented that I lost any athletic ability from crawling under the desk. Well, I lost my athletic ability far before crawling under the desk, which made it all the worse. But anyway, 73s, thanks for calling the net, Dave. And I really hate like crazy missing the luncheon, but I think today I can strike a big lick at several things that are hanging over my head. So, with that note, George, if you're still alive from my lengthy transmission, take it away. K4GDN in the group, KZ4B over.
KZ4B in the group, K4GDN, yeah. That's about so long. I'm sure I'm sorry I'm going to miss the lunch today. And everybody's still coming in here pretty well as well. Next week we're going to be up in the Spartanburg area looking at a couple of houses. I'm not so sure about one of them. I don't know. This is really turning out to be kind of a hard thing. As we're going to be staying with my wife's brother up there Sunday night and looking around Monday. So anyway, with that, I'm going to say 73. Enjoy having me on the net today. Thanks for calling. Charlie's coming to you. W4MEC in the group, K4GDN. 73, guys.
Okay, George, K4GDN, W4MEC. And thanks for running the net, Dave. I know you took off, so anyway, we'll catch up with you fellas later on, and hope to see some of you at the lunch there. 7-3 for now, and over to Greg if you're still there. KF4DRN in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC, KF4DRN. Good nap this morning. Thanks for running it, Dave, and good talk to everybody, and interesting topics this morning. Anyway, I only got one signal. I think one signal generator that'll do the job in place of a VFO, but that remains to be seen. I'll try that URM25D, Charlie, that I got from you over at Asheville, or not Asheville, but Waynesville, North Carolina, earlier in the year. I may try that one too, just to see. And this old Ferris seems to be real stable. I've been checking with the frequency counter, and everything's warmed up good. So I'm going here this morning, and I'm going to say 7-3 as well. I've got to go in and help my daughter with my mother, and we got to get her out of bed. She's 93, got Alzheimer's, and she fell a while back and broke a hip, and she's not able to walk anymore, so we're having to manhandle her. So anyway, 7-3 all around. Enjoyed it. Okay, let's see, WB4ARK, if you're still in here, KF4DRN, 7-3.
Hey, buddy, you still around? I guess not. Everybody's gone. 73, N4LQ.